Hi everyone, welcome back. So I know last week that I said I was going to be talking about microdosing this week, but as is usual, that's not what was meant to come through today. And I even double checked it with my pendulum, and what was wanting to come through is why it's important to connect with stones and how to connect with stones. So this kind of is if you've been with me for a while, you guys know that I studied shamanism with Lori Andrus, and her program is called Crystal Shamanism. And this is back in 2019 that I started this program. And when at that time I was at the beginning of my awakening, and the thing that called to me, obviously, and because I didn't know what a shaman was crystals. And at the time I was just discovering crystals and how beautiful they were, and I just wanted to learn everything that I could about them. And like when I look back and I think about what drew me to that, I've talked about this before. My mind was attracted to crystals and didn't even Google what is shamanism, which is crazy, I know. But I know now that all happened because we are attracted to certain things, and maybe we take the lighter view of them because our minds aren't ready yet to process what the actual, let's say in this case, program was. And definitely if I would have Googled what a shaman was, I definitely would not have signed up for this course. But then, to my surprise, the class ended up being, it was a year-long program, and it ended up being nothing about crystals. So I mean, you can imagine my kind of shock and kind of like, what's going on here? When are we going to start talking about crystals? But what I learned, and this is what I want to talk about today, is that a lot of the crystals that we collect and that we love, people have, number one, put definitions on them and given attributes to them, which then allows us as people to not tune into why they're actually here. We just kind of write it off like, I need a rose quartz because I need self-love, and you guys know I wear it every day. And I don't have to tune into that stone because somebody else has already told me what it's for. So in my shamanism program, what we really learned was learning how to commune with nature yourself. And the reason that we did this through the stones and not crystals is that, number one, the importance of finding the stone in its natural habitat and you collecting it yourself. So wait, I want to apologize if you guys hear that airplane because I have the door open today because it's hot. But normally when we buy crystals, we don't know where they're coming from. We're not working directly with the miner. We may know like it comes from Brazil or somewhere, but we don't know how it was harvested. We don't know anything about it. And the importance of us communing directly with the land and where these stones and crystals come from is so important, because there is a reason that, let's say if you're walking on the beach and some reason a stone calls to you, right? And you don't really know why, but it's just like you feel so deeply that it is yours, and that is nature speaking to you directly. Versus when we buy crystals, we most likely are looking at the prettiness of a crystal, and that's also beautiful, and you guys know I collect crystals and I love them. But when we talk about using the power of these stones for work and for energy, it's about communing directly with nature and hearing what those stones are trying to tell us. And so in the last couple weeks, this has been coming up over and over for me, and I ended up going back into my course that I had studied, a few years ago now, to remember how we commune with them and to help you guys understand why they're here for us. So when I say stones, I say it because that's typically what's easiest to find. Now, I live near a crystal mine, so I do go and I, like, usually once a year, and I mine and sift through to get crystals to do my grid work with. But a lot of people don't live by a mine and can't commune with nature that directly. But I usually, when I go, I get like a huge bucket that I can then use for the rest of the year. Most of the time, stones show up for us just in nature. It could be even a stone that's in your driveway, and it could be one that's at the beach. You don't know when they're going to show up as your allies, but they come, right? So during this course, we had to collect, I think, a total of 13 stones. And so during that whole year, it was during the pandemic, and I remember, like, every place that Richard and I would travel, or anytime I went to the beach, I was always like tuning in. And that is what Lori taught us, is that to commune with nature is to always be tuning into your environment. And it could, like in the case of this this program, we really focused on stones, but that could be anything. It could be feathers, it could be like fallen trees, flowers. It really is anything, but in this case, we're going to focus in on the stones. And what I found over that year was that the ones that called to me, it was so direct, and it was like they were little, like how special crystals feel when you collect them or buy them. They felt like that. And even though they were probably just common stones, because the connection at that moment of when it calls out to you is such a strong feeling, it is as precious as a crystal or a gem that you purchase through someone. So why is this important? The goal here is that you're trying to learn how to commune with the land of where the stone is calling from. So when I say that, and why it's important to collect your own stones, is because the reason that we want to have that first point of contact with them is that you then are harnessing the energy and the ley lines from that piece of land. And it becomes a much more powerful direct connection versus you don't know how many people touch the crystals before you purchase them. I mean, yeah, I definitely only purchase from people that, source ethically. But in that case, still, you don't know how many hands it went through to get to you. So when you are talking about communing directly with nature, is that the first thing is just this attraction, or it may just be intuition, or something catches the side of your eye and you don't know why, right? Like, it's not like every stone is going to speak to you, but there are ones that just feel like, oh, like yummy. Like, I don't know why, but I know you're winking at me and I need you. and it's collecting them, and really, like, not you don't need to understand in the moment why, but then the magic happens when you then I would collect these stones and I would bring them home, and then I would like tune into them, and I'm going to tell you how I was taught to do this. And you will find that the messages that they bring you and the medicine that they bring you is actually so much more powerful than a crystal that's gorgeous, but that you never tune into because someone already has told you what it means. And even if I say that, the truth is that each crystal, it may not have or carry the properties that are put in books or on the internet. So you can use this practice to tune into your crystals as well. But again, remembering that the easiest way to commune with stones is to pick up the energy directly from the land and start working with it directly, because it feels like it's stronger, and you don't have your mind getting involved with the preconceived ideas of what that stone is there to teach you or hold for you. So in the course of the year that I studied shamanism, for each direction we were told to collect 3 stones, and in the beginning, for me it was just collecting stones that were in the places that I normally visited, which for me was the beach a lot. And then as the year went on, I took a few trips, so I was able to get a couple in Bali. Richard and I took a trip up north on the west coast, so I collected some then. And I went to Mount Shasta, I went to Sedona, so I got stones from lands that were very powerful. So you can use this now for the rest of your life. When you visit a land or a place that feels sacred, look around, because there probably is a piece of it that wants to come with you, to stay with you. So then when I'm going to use this example from my medicine bundle. It's a stone that I collected on a trip that Richard and I took up north on the coast, and this one came from the Oregon coast. And when I collected it, it was a very windy day, and I was with Penny on the beach, and again, there were probably hundreds of these stones, but this one felt like it was me in a way. And I didn't know, all I knew at the time was that we were collecting stones and it wasn't until we got to that module, I didn't know what the stone was for, right? And then we tuned into the practice of really listening to the stones. And this is where I'm going to use Lori's examples of how. And I'm going to link her website below, because I was reminded as I was looking back at this time in my life of how special she is, and how she really wants us to learn how to commune directly with nature. And, it's been, I think about a year since that finished. And I was feeling like, God, I'm going to go back and re-listen to all of these classes, because they're practices that just deepen who you are, right? And deepen how to ground into this planet, and how to feel secure and that you are supported. So I just can't recommend her work enough. And I don't know if she's planning to do another shaman program, but if she is, I definitely will let you know. So how do we do this? So in this case, this is the stone that I started with, and if you're on YouTube, you can see it. And the first thing is tuning in with your senses, and this could be like first opening up sacred space, or really quieting your atmosphere so that you can really use all of your senses to understand what this stone is saying to you. So in this case, the first thing we do is go. You want to see with your inner eye. And how do you do that, right? It's kind of like a meditation. So for me, I open sacred space, and then I open my 8th chakra over me, and I just quieted my mind. And maybe that means like doing a short meditation just to clear the thoughts that are running through your mind at the time. And then just holding it and really discerning what is this stone saying to me. And this is the notes that I have from that. This stone felt like a blank slate or a black mirror. That's what I tuned into at the time. And so then you take the notes of, okay, for my inner eye, I'm seeing, this is what I'm feeling. And for me, it's going to be different for each person, because we all tune into things in different ways. But for me, it's like this kind of flash of knowing that kind of popped in. And so I just would jot down notes, and sometimes they won't make sense, but it's just the first thing that pops into your mind. Don't try to analyze it. You just jot it down. Okay. So that was the inner eye for me. And this stone, it was the blank slate and the black mirror. And then the next thing is, what do you see with your physical eye? So then you look with your physical eyes, and you examine, what does this stone look like? And then for this case, I said it's smooth and even. And I just, examine it, because sometimes there'll be like keyholes, sometimes there'll be like smooth areas and rough areas, and sometimes, actually, I've had many stones do this, is that they actually look like something. And like I have one that looks like a little turtle, and it's like the more that you really use your senses, like without distraction, right? Because how often do we really look at the stones? So what I'm saying is, like, really examine, and what is this stone showing you? a lot of the times in all of the stones that I had over the course of that year, they had little messages, even with just looking at them. So in this case, I just wrote down smooth and even. And then we look at the physical touch. What does it feel like? And for me, I wrote down the perfect amount of grit and smoothness. But again, you will feel some, maybe they feel hot, or maybe they feel silky or jagged or whatever. Use that sense of touch to describe what it is that that part of you knows, right? And then the next one is smelling it. Now, this one came from the beach, but I had washed it before I started this process. So, you just again use the sense of smell to really tune into what is it sharing for you. And in the case of this stone, I said salt and cleansing. I had some stones that smelled like baking, and some that just had like a rose scent. Or you'll be shocked at what will come through a stone, but really it's trying to evoke an emotion or a state of being for you. So that's why we're using every sense to it still does smell kind of salty, and yeah, cleansing is what I wrote. So then the next thing is tasting it. And for this one I put, the smell I put was fresh, sweet, and crisp. And then the taste I put salt and cleansing. Yeah, it tastes still a little salty. And why are we doing this, right? I know it looks weird, but the truth is that it is only when you use all of your senses that then you can really understand something in nature. So then, yeah, we taste. So a lot of the stones tasted really bitter. Some tasted like soap. Like, it's very different, and each stone has a totally different taste, which it's like kind of strange. But again, it's using all of your senses to understand that stone. So then the next one I have is knowing. Now this one is my main gift. So for me, it's an easy one to tune into, but what I would say, it's your intuition. It's your I'm totally deciding to go down this path of communing with this stone, and I want to really understand it. So for me, it's just holding it. And again, what does it feel like that I just know? I don't know how I know, but I just know about this stone. And so for me, I wrote perfect in every way for this stone. And then is emotion. So tuning in with that emotional state. And I wrote for that one, calm, smooth, soothing, and stable. And then the last one I have is hearing. So you hold it up to your ear and listen. Some of them, because of the way they're shaped, create almost like an ocean sound. And it will definitely have like a different sound. Each one has such a different sound in your ear. And for me, I wrote this one, I hear the ocean in this one. And then overall, you tune into, does it have any messages for you? And again, it's just taking one stone and meditating with it and asking it, do you have a message for me? Do you want to be with me? Are you here as an ally for me? And this stone ultimately became my destiny stone in my medicine bundle. And it became the mirror of how I will see and how I can understand who I am for the future, right? And I didn't know that at the time, but I love how it's such a blank slate. And it is what I choose my destiny to be, and I get to create that with this stone. And you'll find that each one that you do this with becomes not only an ally, but like a friend that is there for you. And it feels like it was sent directly to you. I know that is kind of weird, but if we go back through the process and realize that it caught your eye for a reason, right? But most of the time we let things catch our eye, and maybe we'll pick it up and keep it, but then we tuck it away, we don't look at it again, or we put it on a shelf. But what Lori taught us was that actually they're talking to you for a reason, and what can you find out about it so that it does become an ally that you can then go back to. So then this stone for me, I use now in healing. And so I know when I, if you've worked with me, you know I show you my medicine bundle and I have you guys select a stone, and each stone represents something completely different, which now for me helps me tune into what that person's needing in their healing session. So for example, if someone chose my destiny stone, I know we're talking about what does the future hold for this person? Where are they trying to create magic? What is it that they're looking for in that mirror? And it's now become an ally for me and how to commune with other people. But in the beginning, it's just a tool to how to commune with yourself and how to start using those senses. Now, what I understand is that the deeper you go into understanding the senses of the inner eye, the physical eye, touch, smell, taste, knowing, emotion, and hearing, you then can start to see what are your prominent gifts. And this is something that when I started with Lori, I didn't think I had any gifts, right? Like, because my thing of knowing or the downloads, yeah, I've always got them, but I just, I wouldn't take it as a gift because I didn't think of it as a gift. We are not taught to believe that our senses are gifts. And then my other one of emotion, as you guys know, I hate it about myself. So I didn't think of it as a gift, but now I understand that that's actually how we're taking in these from our higher self as going into the heart space instead of the mind space. Using every part of you to understand how to communicate with this planet and this Mother Gaia so that you can feel safe here and so that you can start to realize that actually you are here for a reason. You are here to commune for a reason, but we just were never taught how to use those things to do that work. And I now know and I can see why Lori did this and why we never worked with crystals. Actually, we did one time. We worked with smoky quartz to help clear energy, but after as all the other stones are all they are all stones that were stones that were collected by me for a reason, and I let it unfold and let the story tell me the story versus my mind saying, oh, I like that one, and then I'm just gonna put it on the shelf and I just am gonna, that's it. No, we are here to be a part and use these stones and crystals as allies and allow them to almost like raise our vibration to understand ourselves deeper. And it's just another tool to get to that place. So I hope that this makes sense, and I really hope that you guys understand why the stones are here, why the plants are here. I know I talk about plant medicines a lot now and how deeply sacred they are to me, because now that I understand from the stone level how deeply sacred the stones are, taking it up to the plant level and then the animal kingdom, it's like each level gets so much deeper, and it's only through really tuning into your senses that you can then start hearing them call you. And I guess when I look back at my journey, not understanding with my mind why we were collecting the stones, but allowing my senses to tune into it calling me, right? And then understanding how to speak with them and hear them. Then it evolved to the plant kingdom, and it started with the flower essences, as I've explained to you guys, and it's just grown. And now I see that when you open yourself up to hearing and communing with these allies, they just come to you. Like, you don't have to do anything. It's like you're a magnet that's like attracting the like vibration of your allies to help you in a way get deeper into who you are here and to help you understand yourself here. And I know that, it's hard when you are starting from fresh, like how do I even navigate spirituality? And I thank God. I was like thinking about this today. I am so thankful that I past Lori's path on this part of my journey, because she started with the basics of understanding yourself, and stop looking at yourself as, why am I so sensitive? Why does this happen? Why can I not function like a normal person? And understanding that those are the things that actually make you special. And it's only through tuning into them so deeply that then they become alive, and then you can start trusting them, and you can start, maybe when you start working with the stones, it feels kind of playful and you're kind of like, what is that stone saying that to me? But then you realize, like, if I look at my notes of all my stones, they are so different, and each energy that each one brought was completely different. And it could have to do with where I was in my life at that time, but I think it's also the energy of the stone helping us see where we are in our lives at that time. And it's like, how do you, it's like the basic form of learning how to use your senses. And then, like I said, for me, what happened is, at the same time I started working with people with energy, and I started realizing, like, okay, I do not get clear vision, and I'm not clairvoyant. And we all hope that that is our main gift, but that's not mine. And I got to this place of like, I just want to see. And I got the message that, why do you want to see? People that see still have to interpret what they're seeing. What you get is a download of all the information. What in seeing, again, is us dumbing it down to your level of understanding. Because let's say you see something and you don't understand it, it doesn't make sense anyway. So it's like an interpretation of what they're trying to share, right? So the reason I bring that up is that it made me realize that there are no better gifts than others. Like, I now know that 100%, because the gift that you came into this life with, and usually there's one main one, and there's like a few others that come in from, pretty strongly. For me, the first one is knowing, the second one is emotion, and then I have been getting more visions, but it's not my main, it's more in the medicine. I get a lot of visions, but in my everyday life, it feels first like a download, that then maybe there'll be a vision after that. And it's only through understanding that whatever you came in with is so perfect for you and your understanding of things in this world, right? Because you wouldn't have come with that gift if you were meant to see clearly, or you meant to smell clearly, or whatever it is that you hope that you have. You came in with a gift that your soul has cultivated over many lifetimes and many parallel lives, and it knows. It's just allowing that knowing to come back instead of fighting it. Like, well, I think I heard this, but I don't know. Or I thought I smelled rose all of a sudden, but I don't know. Maybe there was a flower nearby. These are the things that we have to stop like shooing off like they don't mean anything, because that's spirit speaking to you directly. And it's like, are you listening? Are you listening? And the more that you allow and hear, and then write down or take notes or act on the things that seem weird and you don't even know where they're going or what they're for, I believe that spirit understanding, she hears us. Now they know. I can give more. I can share more. And look, it's a process. It takes time, and it's only through the process that then you get more confident about it. And like, for example, I thought this week I was going to be talking about microdosing, and no, I kept getting like these images or these feelings of the stones. And then a song came in, and again, I was listening to Spotify, and I looked at the song, and it was called The Voices of the Stones. And I was like, okay, I get it. And then that was like about a week ago. And then today I double checked. Are you sure I'm not supposed to talk about microdosing? And it said no. And it was like the Stones, only the Stones. So I guess that I think that is a lesson for all of us, to take it down back to the basics of tuning into your gifts and your senses. And I know we talked a few weeks ago about the heart space, and I think this is coming to me. I think that's why. I think that this lesson is to be about how do you go into the heart space, and it's through all of your senses. So how do we do that? Let's practice with the stones. Just practice with the stones. It is like the training wheels of communication. And like I said, don't let your mind distract you from, why are you thinking that? Why do you think you smell that? Like, just write it down. Like, what? Just start with the basics and tune in, as that is where the magic lies, right? Like, that is where you will start to see your gifts come alive, is just communing with nature in these simple ways. You know, like I said, start with the stones, and then you can work your way up to the trees and the flowers, and then animal communication, and then it just keeps growing deeper and deeper. And now when I like talk to my animals, I don't doubt. When I hear them say something back to me, I don't doubt it. I just said, nope, she said this, or I just I totally just go with that first instinct of, this is what they're saying. And usually if you go with that first instinct of what they're saying, it's because that's what they're saying. And it's your mind that then does the trick of like, why are you thinking this? Or why do you puts the doubts in. But what I'm saying is that when you start trusting your senses with the stone kingdom, then you start to realize, like, okay, let me try this on something that is a plant. Or like for me, it was trees. And then like I go deeper with the animals. And the point is that the more you start hearing what nature is telling you, I believe the more that it creates this kind of synergistic energy coming towards you of, she understands and he gets it. It's time for us to communicate. They're listening. And the whole thing is that they always have been here. You know, I had in one of my past lives reading, I was Hawa, she was a Native American healer, but really communing with nature. And I, in that experience, got to see her going through that. And really, once you start opening up your senses to everything, you realize how deeply we are just one being, and everything is here for a reason, and that is to assist us. Everybody knows this is a difficult experience. It's not easy, but we've chosen to do it. And so we have all of these things that are here to help us on the path, and we just have not opened ourselves up to understanding why they're here. And I know that the more you cultivate these senses, and again, I'm going to say them one more time, the inner eye, the physical eye, hearing, touching, smelling, taste, knowing, emotion. Those are the tickets to get deeper into who you are, your heart space, and really tuning in and using all of them as a resource, and not just because your mind is literally not part of that equation at all. And I think that's why they were talking about the mind melt. How do we get out of our head space and into our heart space? It's through our senses. Everything in this level of this dimension is words, and that's how we communicate, and that's fine. But the world and the universe is so much vaster than that, and it's so funny because we were given all these gifts and all these senses to use. We just don't. And the message is, let's tune back into that part of ourselves, because that is where the magic is. So I hope that this is helpful. Please let me know if you guys have questions, because I know it can sound a little bit odd, but like I'm saying, just start small. Whatever, even if you have a stone in your house that you don't know why, but you gravitated toward it at some point, there's a reason, and it wants to talk to you. So I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the Energy Tribe chats this Friday at 2:30 Pacific time. And if you are unable to make it, the link for the YouTube channel is below. And yeah, I thank you guys so much.